Hello friends, welcome back to IWJ or Invest with Jerry. We had some very painful days in the last few months. Some of the growth stocks have gone down 40, 50, 60 or even 70% or more in the past few days. Some of our portfolios are down like 30%, 40%, and if it's like a high risk portfolio, it might be even down like 50% or more. So in this video, I will discuss about 10 factors which I believe is causing this tech or growth stocks to crash, and also my take on like when these are going to end or what factors will help the tech stocks to rebound. So let's jump into the video right away. The number one issue that is affecting the tech market sell-off is actually the fear of rising inflation. So we have seen in the past few months many commodities like lumber, copper, fuel, food items, etc. have increased their price like exponentially. And alongside with that, we can see that house or US house prices are like all-time high, as well as labor shortages are always there. And then we saw that lesser than expected employment numbers came out. Also, we saw April month's CPI numbers. So CPI is actually the consumer price index measure. So this is like the average change in prices over time that a consumer pays for a basket of goods and services. So this can be related to anything which you can buy. It's like a food item or a used car or something like that. So what price you have paid in the previous month and compared to what price you're paying in the current month. So CPI is most widely used measure of inflation and of the effectiveness of the government's economic policy. So CPI is another way to measure the inflation. So here is a glance of the CPI numbers, which is reported for the month of April. So you can see all items. If you take the basket of all items reported in the CPI, you can see in March it was at 0.6 and April it is at 0.8. If you take food items, you can see it went from 0.1 to 0.4. That's a big increase. Apart from that, some of the items that have gone dramatic price increases are like energy services. You can see it went from 0.6 to 1.5. That's more than like 150% increase. Then electricity went from 0 to 1.2. Again, if you see used cars and trucks, I saw that it has gone from 0.5 to 10, and apparel and few other things. So basically, it shows the percentage changes are increasing from the CPI report. Also, this is another chart which shows the percentage of CPI reported for each year from 2012. You can see in 2012 it was at 4% and it came down dramatically to less than like close to 1% in 2015, and now it is shooting up to like a 10-year high of around 4.2%. So this is one of the reasons why the market is fearing the rise in inflation. So some of the other factors which is causing the fear of rising inflation is like semiconductor shortages. We have been hearing about semiconductor shortages and how it impacts different kind of markets. Like the auto industry, Ford and General Motors had to shut down their plants for a temporary period of time, and all those electronic items which need the support of a chip are actually impacted. So many industries will have a issue with the supply chain of this semiconductors. So this is actually affecting so many things, and also the price increases. So when the demand is high and the supply is less, the price of semiconductors are going high, and this in fact increases the price of the finished good. So another news was related to the pipeline hike and how the fuel prices have come up. Also, a few months back, we saw how the Suez Canal getting blocked actually caused shipping delays, and that inflicted many price hikes for the finished products and other goods which are transported via shipments. Now, the second area of concern is the 10-year treasury yield going up. So let's look at a chart of the 10-year treasury yield. So you can see this is a 10-year treasury yield, and I have also taken the growth stock index from Nasdaq. Like QQJ is another index which tracks growth stocks in the Nasdaq. You can see towards the end of February, the 10-year treasury has been going up. You can see it was at 1.5 on 24th of February, and how the growth stocks have come down. On 25th of February, the sell-off is like pretty deep, and it was coming down. And you can see on March 8th, when the treasury yield was going up, the market was coming down. This was more like a panic selling, and then it tried to rebound a bit, but it came again down. At this highest point, the 10-year treasury was at 1.73, with 1.74 at its highest point. And look at how the growth stocks have gone down. The growth stocks have gone down to 31.2, And then you can see it was trying, the growth stocks were trying to come upwards. End of the last week, the treasury yield again jumped up from 1.56 to 1.69, close to 1.7 again. And you can see how the growth stocks have come down. So when rates are very low, like closer to zero, which is how it is currently, company and stock valuations can go to the moon, meaning people don't give much importance to the valuations of companies. But the problem is, like, once that 10-year treasury goes up, this reverses very quickly. And this happens especially for speculative companies, SPACs, high growth companies, etc. Also, another important thing to note is, like, most of these companies which are actually burning cash right now and not making any profit, those are the ones which will be like getting hit most. So we have seen stocks like Zoom, Peloton, DocuSign, Fiverr, Fastly, Palantir, EV stocks, SPACs, etc. getting smashed because of this. Now the third concern, which is actually a byproduct of fear of the points 1 and 2, is actually anticipating the federal rate hikes. So Federal Chairman Jerome Powell has come to media, and multiple times he has mentioned that he is not planning to increase the interest rates. But with increasing inflation and also with increasing 10-year treasury yields, people anticipate that Jerome Powell might be forced to increase the rate even before the time he projected. The fourth point is a very interesting one, and this is one thing which we might need to take a deeper look. Hedge funds. So hedge funds are like the big companies which has so much of money with them, like the billions of dollars which they are investing daily. And those are the funds which might be like handling the 401ks and the retirement funds of like big organizations as well as individuals. So much money is with them. We have seen a behavior that these funds are selling off their highest positions of all the tech or like the growth stocks in the last few months. So Bank of America had put together a report showing this. So let's take a look at that. So this is Bank of America's report, which shows the record selling by hedge fund clients. So the y-axis in this chart shows the year, and they have reported they have data from 2008 till 2021. If you see this chart and you see the spike which is coming down, you can see the red circled one. So this shows the biggest selling in the last whole decade, especially for the growth and tech-oriented stocks. So you can see hedge fund selling was most concentrated in the communication services and information technology sectors, according to the Bank of America data. So that is like the tech winners that have thrived during COVID-19 pandemic. When the hedge funds are selling, who is buying? That's more like people like you and me, and that is why we see there's a lot of selling happening in the market, and even after a lot of selling, the tech stocks are not rebounding. So one thing to understand is, like, retail traders like you and me, we cannot change the stock price too much. And for stock price to come up, always hedge funds have to come up, and they have to like invest deep into these stocks. So now that will trigger a question to why these hedge funds might be selling. So I believe there are two factors to that. So that is my fifth and sixth points. So first one is, like, May 17th is like tax filing date. So what does that mean? So tax filing for many of us who has invested into stock market, we have made like short-term gains like last year. And like the short-term gains mostly will be like taxed at 30% or more than 30%, depending on what tax bracket you are in. So there is a chance that since you have to pay back to the government and you need to get some kind of liquid money out of your investments, there is a chance like a lot of retail investors might be selling their stocks, or the hedge funds itself might be selling their stocks. So that is one reason why I think the selling has gotten strengthened in the last few days. So now coming to the sixth point, this might be another important point to be noted, and that might be one of the reasons why these hedge funds are selling of the stocks. Remember last year, like March of 2020, when the pandemic news hit the market and the crash has started. So a lot of us, like even you, me, and many hedge funds might be like starting to buy the stocks at around the peak, at around the bottom, and after that. So if you look at the dates, it will be like March, April, and May. That's when the most of the buying might have happened. Today is like May 16th, right? So if you do the math, that 1 year period which defines a short-term trade has almost completed for those kind of investments. In other words, if your investments which you bought during the coronavirus sell-off has gone up pretty decent levels, and you didn't want to go and pay like the short-term taxes to the government, which is like at the higher of like higher 30s, and instead you wanted to pay only the tax for the long-term gains. So that is a very clever strategy which people apply, and you would save like 15% right off there. So basically the short-term gains will be like 30% and more, and the long-term gains might be like taxed at 15% to 20%. Basically what this says, like whoever bought at market bottom last year, now is the time to lock in profits so that their gains will be categorized under long-term gain, and tax will be in the lower bracket of 15 to 20% instead of 30 to 40% of short-term gains. So I will show you just one graph to elaborate on this point. So this is the chart of S&P 500 index, and this is for 2 years. On 10th of February, the S&P price was at 338, and when the market sell-off happened, it went to 228 on 16th of March. So you can see this is the rock bottom of the market, and that happened on 16th of March. And from there onwards, the market was slightly coming up. The recovery was happening, and many more investors might be thinking, okay, the market is coming back. The rebound looks good. And there are other positive news of like the vaccine companies getting started on the research and all. Slowly by slowly, more and more people came into the market for investment as well as hedge funds. So if you look at any of these places, right, like some from 16th March to probably like May. So whoever has bought through these days, right, they should be like, if they wanted to pay only the long-term taxes, they could have sold it from here to here. S&P 500 and the Dow Jones is almost at their peaks even now, and you can see one of the reasons why this chart doesn't show the level of market sell-off is like the market sell-off is actually concentrated in mostly the tech stocks and the growth stocks which have like no earnings, and highly valued tech stocks. So again, SPACs, the speculative investments, growth stocks, the ones which does not have a earnings or profits. So all those companies got hit hard. So now let's look at another interesting aspect. So this is like the retail traders like you and me again. So we are investing more into the crypto and the crypto hypes. We have heard about the hype of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all those things in the last few years. But now it's the time of Dogecoin, Cardano, like SafeMoon, Shiba, and many other things. So let's see another interesting fact. So this shows the the cryptocurrency market cap. So we can see the Bitcoin market cap is at 835 billion US dollars. The Ethereum market cap is at 393 billion US dollars. Again, Binance Coin, Cardano, Dogecoin is like 63 billion US dollars. So there are like so much money being put into the cryptocurrency market. So this is another reason. This might be another reason, like traders, like always people will be interested into booming things, right? When market gives you like when the market news is like covering more and more about Dogecoin, at some point it was NFT. So people look into those as the best investments, and then people will start putting money into those. So I think for the time being, most of the retail traders and even like maybe the hedge funds also are interested into crypto. Point number 8, international tensions. So international tensions is not good for markets or any markets. So we have recently seen the issues with the Palestine and Israel. So this war is getting into full scale mode. So that is not at all good. Certain supply chain disruptions might happen because US might be getting some kind of goods from Palestine or Israel or some of the neighboring countries, and those supply chains might be disrupted because of these international tensions. So this is always bad news for market, even if it's not happening internally in US or like close to our place. But this is another point to be noted. Point number 9 is another important one. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is not over. The pandemic is still ravaging fire in a lot of places in the world, and that is also not healthy. So this also can affect again the supply chain disruptions, or raw materials or import exports. So there are so many other things which can affect the market, and most of the companies in US are like international companies, and they will be affected with some countries going into lockdown or like shutting down the international trade or like the travel and all those things. Lastly, but not least, media hype. So media always goes after what is trending. So when the market was booming and when on a daily basis when market was hitting all-time highs, media always hyped up those things. Like media came up and said like, okay, market looks really strong. And when the tech started sell off, media says, okay, all the tech companies are like highly valued. This is like too much fear. And people are into too much fear and they're booking profits and all those things. So this adds more and more fuel into the fire. So now let's look at some of the bull cases and why I believe our market is still in a very much bullish momentum. So the market is always forward looking, which means market anticipates certain events, market projects certain things. So that is like one of the cases is like the anticipation of inflation and finally the Fed rate hikes. So it panics first and then it comes back to reality. So even if you remember the last year, the times of coronavirus news coming in, market panicked. So it's sold off like pretty bad, and then slowly it came back to reality, and then the rebound happened. Second point, CPI numbers looks pretty bad now, and I believe for the coming month, which is like the month of May, also might be little bad because the pipeline effect and all the fuel price increase is not been accounted for the last CPI number report. So that might be coming along, and alongside with fuel prices, we know that all other commodities might go up. So I believe a month more of pain might be there when the CPI numbers come, but that might be a very good opportunity to buy good shares, good stocks, or good companies. So again, if the market is already accepted that and it's accounting for the next month's CPI numbers, then that should be a good sign. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has repeatedly said that he's not planning to hike rates until at least 2022 or 2023. So that is a good positive sign that even after seeing all these inflation numbers, he is still holding strong. So that is a pretty good sign for us. So the Federal Reserve said like they want inflation to be high and in the range of like 2 and above. And that too, they need it for some time. Whatever inflation we are seeing right now, Fed Reserve mentions it as like a transitionary or temporary inflation. So they expect inflation to be a little bit high for a few months. Only if high inflation persists at a level above their expected levels and the unemployment numbers reduce significantly, that is only when the Federal Reserve will start thinking to change the rates. So we saw that last month's unemployment numbers was not as good as expected. So that is another sign that even though we see a lot of things rebounding, the economy is fully not back to its pre-pandemic strength. And that might hold the Federal Reserve from increasing the rate hike at least for the near future. Now, semiconductor shortages. Let's see a chart for that first. So this chart shows the projected semiconductor inventory for quarter 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2021 and 2022. So the projected inventory is shown in the violet color, the normal zone is in the blue color, the moderate shortage is in the orange color, and severe shortage in the red color. So as you can see in Q1 of 2021, the shortage is actually severe. So projected inventory is much less than the demand. In Q2, which is happening right now, so this is the worst time of the semiconductor shortage. So many more industries are getting hit. Auto industries is especially getting hit. Even like electronics, a washing machine, a simple washing machine, a TV, laptops, and mobile, and a lot of other things might be getting hit during this quarter. But if you look forward, you can see this chart. The graph is going up, which means it's improving, and companies are actually smart. They can actually manage their inventories and do some other workaround for the time being. And you can see Q3 it's recovering a bit, and Q4 if you see it's into moderate shortage. So moderate shortage is something which I believe companies will be able to handle. And by Q1 of 2022 and Q2 of 22 it is completely recovering. So the story is actually bad right now, and it's going up only from now. Again, semiconductor space is a very good space to invest now with quality companies. One of these areas of concern which will still haunt us for some more time is the 10-year treasury yield. Right now this is oscillating between like 1.75 and 1.5 range, but it might hit the 2% mark soon and it might stay there. So this is actually a concern for all the growth stocks, because once the 10-year treasury goes higher, the growth stocks might get hit again. But I believe many of the stocks have been overreacting and like oversold right now. So it is actually a good time to start averaging into good sectors and good companies. One important point I wanted to bring to you in this video is like, what is a stock and what is a company? A stock is related to a company is related to a business. So in a real world, the stock and companies should be moving in the same direction. In the recent past and many times in the history, we have seen the stock prices and the company performance might be in divergence. Which means even if a company is doing really, really well and it reported really good earnings, the stock price can actually come down. In a real world, when things are going good and the market is normal, when a company reports really good earnings, the stock price is supposed to go up. But in the recent past, we have seen good companies, great companies with great cash flows and great profit margins have reported even better numbers. Their guidance have been improved, but you can see the stock prices are coming down. So I believe at this point, when the sell-off has happened pretty good and the correction for many of the tech stocks have gone to like 20%, 30% and even more, this might be a turning point from where if companies produce good earnings, they might be going up. Again, with bad earnings for great companies, it might be another chance to buy in the dip, because already the companies might be down with the market for like 20-30%. And if it's a great company and you know that the company is going to rebound soon back, this might be a really good chance to get those companies at a discount. For example, if a semiconductor stock has gone down recently and they are reporting soon and they had a pretty bad earnings report, and maybe it's impacted by the semiconductor shortage, but you know that the semiconductor shortage is going to go away soon and the company has a real good fundamentals, then that's a good time to buy into the company. So on a conclusion note, the fear of inflation brings industrials, commodities, oil stocks going up and dropping growth companies that don't have any earnings. But when the market sells off, even great companies with great cash positions, profits, and even better innovation will also be dragged down. So as an investor, the biggest win for us is to filter out these companies and average them out. So this is one thing I have learned through my investing career. So when that sell-off happens, some of the good companies get sold off even more. So if you are a real believer in the company and you know the fundamentals well, this is a real good chance for you to buy into the company. That's still very much in a real strong bull market, and I believe tech stocks are supposed to rebound in the coming months. But this won't be in like a straight line like the last year's recovery. So the importance of filtering out good companies and averaging out them is like the best strategy. Another way to play these markets is with the power of ETFs. So ETFs are like baskets of stocks that are categorized based on different criteria. So for example, there is like EV ETFs, genomic ETFs, ARK ETFs. So ARK ETFs is like they have innovation ETF, which will have all those companies which we have discussed some time back, like the Zooms, DocuSigns, Pelotons, the telemedicine ones, and many other innovative companies. So if you are a person who doesn't have enough time to research on any of these companies or drill down deep into their fundamentals, this is another way to play these kind of markets. I have posted several videos on really great ETFs that are actually in the booming sector, like electric vehicles, genomics, artificial intelligence, biotech, innovation, robotics, sports betting, cannabis, and many more. So I will be posting the links of all those in the description. So if you're interested, please go through that and see if it's the right one for you. So thanks a lot for staying till the end of this video. Please like, share and subscribe this video and comment if you have any suggestions. Thanks guys. Bye.